Donald Trump has taken on more than a couple stupid crusades during his presidency. His fight over the Gulf of America, which we're not calling it that, of course, the dumbest trade war in history, and now over the past couple of days, a constant stream of threats towards Jasmine Crockett, which started with Pam Bondi and is now escalated to coming directly from Trump in an insane video that he posted from his Truth Social account, in which he is keeping the threats coming, which is crazy to me because you would think after the last time Jasmine Crockett shut down Trump in front of Congress just a few days ago, he would be too scared to poke that bear. But apparently he is too stupid to realize this is going to backfire on him, which is exactly what happened, and we're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into the post from Donald Trump, really showing how upset he is with Jasmine Crockett, first, I want to hear the video of Jasmine Crockett, the clip of her in Congress that spurred this all on.
Today is nothing more than a dog and pony show for Republicans to avoid facing the American people for their trash policies that are killing the economy and our democracy. Despite Republicans' claim of backing the blue and being the party of law and order, we're here today because Republicans are willing to throw our country's top law enforcement agents under the bus to appease Trump and execute his political vengeance. Now, I know remembering things is hard for some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, like remembering not to add reporters into a Signal chat discussing military war plans. But let me remind my colleagues that it was Trump who decided to store national secrets and classified documents next to his oversized bathtub and toilet at Mar-a-Lago. It was Trump who took the documents out of the boxes and shared them with his guests. It was Trump who told his staff to move the boxes when the FBI was coming. And it was Trump who appointed Director Christopher Wray as head of the FBI, the same director that allowed the investigation to move forward. As much as Trump and Republicans hate to accept it, we are still a country with laws. And when you break them, there are consequences. Now, make no mistake, we should all be concerned about the FBI. But my concerns as ranking member of this subcommittee, as a member of Congress, and as an attorney, as well as a citizen, are based on things called facts. And when I say facts, I mean clear, indisputable facts, not those alternative facts my Republican colleagues continue pushing onto the American people. So let's talk about facts. Fact. Even prior to being confirmed by the Senate, Kash Patel was directing officials within the FBI to fire members within the Bureau simply because they worked on the lawful investigations into Trump. Fact, Patel failed to disclose his previous work and financial ties with the country of Qatar, a country that, had you had read the Mazars report, released last year by the House Oversight Committee, you would know paid close to $500,000 to Trump while he was president of the United States. Unsurprisingly, the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force was recently disbanded, and the DOJ also cut back on its Foreign Agents Registration Act enforcement. Our enemies are jumping up and down now that we're doing their work for them. Another fact, Patel has never even been an FBI agent and is now leading the Bureau. Even one of today's Republican witnesses organizations, the Bureau, has advocated having an FBI agent lead the Bureau. But rather than confirm a director with credible, dedicated experience, the Republicans confirmed a political loyalist with no Quantico or FBI training. Talk about DEI. Didn't earn it higher. Another fact, Patel, who rails against telework, what he calls lazy agents, was working part-time in and out of Las Vegas, commuting back and forth between there and DC, while also living in the home of a GOP mega donor. Think about that for a second. Could you imagine what Republicans would have done had, say, James Comey had been living in New York part-time as the FBI director, and if his New York home was owned by, say, George Soros? Speaker Johnson would have forced a floor vote on articles of impeachment within days of this news coming out. But nevertheless, my Republican colleagues are willing to sacrifice safety for stupidity as long as it's loyal.
MAGA does not like it when you point out their hypocrisy, which is crazy considering how blatant and obvious that it is. But Donald Trump especially gets really in his feelings when the clear lies that he is pushing are brought to light. And that's why on Truth Social, he posted a video of this insane rant from, I don't even want to call her judge, but Judge Jeanine Pirro, in which he was just threatening Jasmine Crockett. As we can see, he posted this video on his Truth Social feed. And I want to check out just a little bit of what she had to say.
Let me explain something to you. This woman, Jasmine Crockett, and I want you all to affirm the fact that I said in January, she's the one to watch this year. It's loony. Okay, she comes out and says, for my birthday, I want to see Elon Musk taken down. And that's the day of the big event on March 29th. Now, she better be very careful. And you don't pick a fight with the Attorney General of the United States. And you do not say to the Attorney General of the United States, your boss is basically a jerk. OK, because then the Attorney General is in a position where she has to defend her boss. Jasmine Crockett is not too bright. We already know that because she couldn't read the statute that she was trying to interpret when she's in the business of drafting legislation. But enough said on that. What the left is doing is they are destroying property, jobs, pensions, and portfolios. And this Jasmine Crockett, if she opposes the destruction of property, then she ought to damn say it. But
Every other day, MAGA is oscillating between whether or not they care about exact language or not. Judge Jeanine is trying to frame it like Jasmine Crockett said, get your pitchforks and here's Elon's exact address, instead of telling people to use their First Amendment right to protest peacefully. And these are the same people who were saying, well, no, Pete Hegseth didn't send war plans. They were attack plans. So it's different and okay. First of all, they were war plans, but do you care about the specifics or not? They don't. They just want to put forth whatever argument best suits them in any given moment. But it is clear that Donald Trump is not happy with Jasmine Crockett, that she's getting under his skin, which just makes it all the much more enjoyable for us. And she should be getting under his skin. She should be calling him out. Donald Trump is breaking the law. And now he's threatening Jasmine Crockett because she's abiding by it? And speaking of breaking the law, that is exactly what we saw from Democrats in the Senate, not breaking the law, but calling out Donald Trump's criminality and his abuse of power, his weaponization of the DOJ. Senator Adam Schiff held a shadow hearing on this in which he just delivered a brutal takedown of Donald Trump. Very important that I think we need to check out.
A man who had been deported in violation of a judge's order. And the department's response to this gross miscarriage of justice was not to accept responsibility or to take urgent action to correct the problem and seek the man's return. No, the department's response was to punish the department's own lawyer for speaking truthfully to the court, for what it deemed an act of insubordination, for failure to give full-throated defense to the department's illegal act. This is why we are here today. We are here today because the rule of law and democracy in the United States is under attack, not by a foreign adversary or some distant threat. The rule of law is being attacked and subverted from within, from an administration intoxicated by its own power and enabled by a supine Congress. Donald Trump is taking unprecedented steps to bend our justice system to his will, and his administration is moving systematically and swiftly to dismantle the legal pillars that hold up our democracy: the independence of the legal system, the idea of impartial justice, the right to counsel, and the principle that no one, not even a president, is above the law. If Donald Trump and his personal criminal defense lawyers now running the Justice Department succeed, the consequences will be profound. The impact will be felt by Americans from all walks of life and by future generations. This is why Ranking Member Raskin and I have taken the extraordinary step of convening this unprecedented hearing. We brought together both chambers of Congress, the Senate and the House, to conduct real oversight and to serve as a check and balance, to hold those who misuse power to account and to carry out our constitutional duty. Convening this hearing was not our first choice. We have tried to get our Republican colleagues to hold hearings, to do meaningful oversight, to assert Congress's authority as an independent branch of government. But to our great disappointment, our Republican colleagues have abdicated that important responsibility. They have stood by as the president has run roughshod over the legislative branch and turned Congress into little more than a rubber stamp. So today we'll hold the first of what we hope will be more bicameral oversight hearings. We will do the investigative work that our colleagues across the aisle refuse to do. We will expose the illegality, abuse, and corruption of this administration and within the Department of Justice. We will have brave witnesses speak to what's actually happening behind closed doors, how the Trump administration continues to try to intimidate them from speaking out, and why it matters to Americans across the country. The Trump administration is following a well-worn playbook. History serves as a guide and as a warning. In the 1930s, a Jewish lawyer in Berlin tracked in meticulous detail how Germany gradually became what he called a dual state. First, to keep the country running, the ordinary legal system remained in place for most people. And yet, step by step, a parallel system of governance and law emerged, what one scholar called a lawless zone. A parallel system carry out the will of the leader and to go after his enemies, real or perceived, to punish, to reward, to co-opt, to intimidate, silence, or take over institutions that make a society free and vibrant, the courts, the lawyers, the universities, the press, even businesses. And over time, the emerging authoritarianism would swallow what remained of the rule of law. And now Hungary provides a more present-day warning. Methodically, Viktor Orban has tried to dismantle the independence of Hungary's judicial system, its education system, and free press, undermining democracy while pretending to uphold the law. And we have our own history that we must not forget. In the 1950s, in this very institution, Senator Joseph McCarthy and his enablers wielded the power of the government to go after perceived enemies. Many shamefully did not stand up at the time. Some chose expediency, political gain, or profit. Others thought they could weather the storm by cutting deals or staying silent. If this sounds all too eerily familiar, it is because it is.
I am so glad to see Dems going forward and not doing the, well, you know, we're not in power, so our ability to call a hearing, you know, bring attention, we can't really, no. Hold the hearing. Hold the surprise hearing. Get after them. I love this. This is great from Adam Schiff, from Jamie Raskin. This is exactly what we need. Work around, obstruct, fight back. This is the opposition that the Democratic Party is required to do in this moment. Adam Schiff leading the way. He's been killing it lately. Obviously, we know this, and we're going to keep covering all the great work that he is doing on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.